The night of March 11th, 1985, a white man walks into a black church in South Georgia and shoots a beloved couple to death. This photo, acquired by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, shows Harold and Thelma Swain.
Harold and Thelma Swain were very active members of the Rising Daughter Baptist Church family. On the night they were killed, they were there at the church for a Bible study and mission meeting. Thelma took the minutes, and Harold was a deacon there at the church.
For 35 years, authorities failed to match DNA evidence found at the crime scene to any of the suspects, not even to Dennis Perry, the man now serving 2 life sentences for the murders. Now, Perry's lawyers say new DNA testing casts doubt on his conviction, and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has reopened the case.
The new DNA evidence ties a man named Eric Spar to the crime scene, according to attorneys for the Georgia Innocence Project and the King and Spalding law firm.
Eric Spar was an early suspect because of reports that he admitted to the killings twice, but he had an alibi for March 11th, 1985. He was working at Winn-Dixie. But an investigation by Atlanta Journal-Constitution reporter Josh Sharp suggests otherwise.
The alibi was given by a person who claimed to be Eric Spar's boss, but my reporting shows that the person, as described in the police documents, never existed.
The new information prompted Dennis Perry's attorneys to do new tests on old DNA evidence from the crime scene.
The evidence that was found on the scene, literally within inches of the victims, was a pair of eyeglasses. And significantly, there were a few hairs that were caught in the catch of the eyeglass frame.
Dennis Perry was another early suspect in the church killings after a tipster told police Perry had a problem with the victim, Harold Swain. But Perry didn't wear glasses, and he also had an alibi. He was working at a concrete company hundreds of miles away. 13 years after the slayings, new information led authorities back to Perry.
Jane Beaver was the mother of Dennis Perry's ex-girlfriend.
Jane Beaver was the prosecution's star witness when Perry stood trial in 2003.
She testified at his trial that he had told her he planned to go and kill Harold Swain because Harold Swain had refused to loan him money and laughed in his face.
But Perry's defense didn't know that Beaver asked for reward money, evidence that could have challenged her credibility, or that she received $12,000 after his conviction. The revelations came to light in a 2018 podcast about the case, Undisclosed. Perry's lawyers used the information to file a motion for a new trial, which is still pending. The AGC began looking at the case the following year.
Spar's alleged boss said that he had talked to other employees at the Winn-Dixie who remembered Spar being there on the night of the murders. Now, I knew that this conversation with the investigator was happening a full year after the homicides had taken place. I certainly couldn't tell you where I was a year ago on a random night, and I really definitely could not tell you where my coworkers were. So it seemed really strange. I wanted to see if I could talk to the manager to see if maybe they could explain that detail. And obviously, I never could find that person.
After learning the information, Perry's lawyers obtained a DNA sample from Spar's mother. The sample matched the hairs in the glasses found at the crime scene.
What was missing was physical evidence tying Eric Spar to the crime. That's exactly what we have now.
Spar denied he was involved when Josh Sharp shared the results with him.
The DNA test was done by the Georgia Innocence Project, and it showed that your mother's hair matched the DNA found on a pair of glasses next to the bodies. And I want to see how you can explain that to me.
Look, I have no idea. I don't have any glasses missing. Won't you leave me alone?
Unbelievable. I got to bring Ted Rollins in. Ted, this is some case. I mean, on many different. Let's start with the glasses.
Yeah.
The glasses. The guy who's convicted doesn't even wear glasses, right? Is that what we're saying here?
Correct. And as you heard, when he was confronted with the fact that his mother's DNA matches the hairs, the DNA on those glasses, he said, well, I'm not missing a pair of glasses. This is huge. I mean, this is physical evidence that places him potentially at the scene. And now you have to think about Dennis Perry, who's been in prison for 17 years with no physical evidence getting him there. It was just one witness who was paid $12,000 for her time. This really does, at this point, it looks like they may have the wrong person in prison right now, and we're watching this very closely. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI, has formed a task force. They're putting this as a huge priority one for them. We're waiting to see. Court TV, we're watching this. And thanks to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, I mean, journalism is not dead, Vinny. Their work has really made a difference, along with the Georgia Innocence Project.
And another case connected to a podcast as well. And what I don't understand is if you can get this information this many years later, I still don't understand how it happens. He doesn't wear glasses, and they're talking about glasses at the scene. He had an alibi. The other guy had an alibi, but his alibi was a little shaky. You wonder what that trial must have looked like.
Yeah, you had two suspects right away, and neither one of them, there was not enough to go to trial for years. From 1985 all the way to 2003, there wasn't enough to go to trial, and then you get this big break. You get this woman comes forward and says, Dennis Perry did it, and I'll testify. For investigators, for prosecutors, they're like, oh, finally, we're gonna have justice. Turns out, might have been the wrong guy.
Unbelievable. The other part of this, if it turns out it was the wrong guy, someone should go after that witness and that $12,000. I mean, to me, that's the other part of this.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
disgusting.
Great work, Ted. Yeah. Let's keep an eye on that because I think something's going to happen.
Yeah, two things.
All right, when we come back.
Yeah, you've got
Go
you got a guy who's going to be walking out of prison after 17 years. That's huge, and then another guy who might be in handcuffs. So yeah, absolutely, we're going to be watching this.
All right. Ted, thank you.